Hi everyone. Hi Emmy, Stephen. Hi Abiola Adeoye. Hi Ashade. Sorry, I can't pronounce your first name. Hi Faith. I'm so glad to have you guys here today. I'm actually waiting for more persons to join. We already have in the house Dule Martins. He's an experienced technical writer and he has some years of experience in writing documentation. So we have him today to help us answer some questions that I'm sure a lot of you have in related to technical writing and documentation. So let's just give others like few minutes. Let's say 5 minutes for them to join. Thank you. In the meantime, you guys can let me start by saying how was your day or how is your day going since it's just 1:37 Nigerian time. How is your day going? How are you guys doing? Are you a part of the mentorship class or you just joined? How did you hear about the mentorship from Twitter, LinkedIn? Let's get to know each other while we wait for others to join. So I think we can start with Emmy. Hi Emmy. How did you learn about the mentorship class? Was it from Twitter? Was it from LinkedIn? Or have you been following us so far? Or this is your first time attending the class? Oh, nice, nice, nice. Emmy says it's his first time attending the class. Nice. It's great to have you here, Emmy. Who's next on the list? Abiola. Hi, Abiola. How are you doing today? Is this also your first time, or you've been here following us along? Oh, okay. So Abiola says he's been part of the mentorship class, that although he hasn't been following because of work and he might need to put in more efforts because of the lack of documentation in his organization. Okay. Yeah, I've also been busy myself. I think I have only like reviewed some person's assignments from the last class and I haven't been able to finish up touch every other person's assignment. But I'm hoping to get to it before this week ends. So it's nice to have you, Abiola. Who's next on the list? Ashade, please can you okay, there's no how you can, there's no voice feature in the comment section. I would have said you should pronounce your surname or your first name because I'm struggling to pronounce your name. So Ashade, your name is spelled Asade. So is this your first time in the mentorship class or you'll be following us along? Okay, Asad, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrongly. Okay, he said he just joined or she just joined. Are you a he or she? Sorry, I'm not familiar with the name. I don't know what tribe that is. Okay, okay. Yeah, so hi Faith Tambari. Hi Faith. Is this also your first time or you've been following along? Hi Faith. Okay, okay, nice. So Faith says it's not her first time. And well, okay, I think I've yeah covered everyone that's here currently in the comment section. So if I didn't call your name, it's because you haven't said anything in the comment section. Okay. Hi Walter. Um, so yeah, we haven't started yet. We're just starting because we're trying to like buy time for others to join. I'm asking if this is your first time here, or if you attended the last mentorship class, or this is your first time. Okay, says she's yet to submit her articles for review. Okay, why? Is there any reason why you haven't even submit your article? Why are you having any stumbling block or? So Walter says it's his first time here. You're welcome, Walter. So did you hear about the mentorship class from LinkedIn or Twitter? So we're going to start in like 2 minutes time. Okay, so hi Ifure. My day she says her day is going well and it's her first time joining the live because of work. And she's been catching up on the videos and she just joined the group from the last newsletter. Okay, nice. It's great to have you, Ifure. So I think we can start by introducing our speaker today. So for this mentorship class, I wanted to do something a bit different because I've been at it for a while, and I was hoping maybe after the next mentorship class we have, we'll kind of conclude the videos and maybe just focus on the assignments and hands-on learning in the Discord channel, pending other programs that might come later, which I will definitely update you guys via my newsletter. So in the house today we have Dule Martins. Hi Dule Martins, please can you pronounce your first name? I don't know if that's your last name. So hi Dule Martins. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Education. Okay, welcome everyone. I heard Deborah clearly. My name is actually Julie, like Julie. I think that's the only way I can actually pronounce it. Yeah. My name is Julie Martins. I have been within the tech writing space for a while. A while, I mean like 4 years. Yeah, and I'm also the initiator of Ride the Dogs Nigeria.
But that's amazing. So I don't know if they got you. Did you guys hear him? The last thing that he said, the right about Ride the Dogs, or have you heard about Ride the Dogs before? That has any of you heard about Ride the Dogs?
All right, even if you've not heard, I
Okay,
think this is
someone
an
said
opportunity.
yeah.
This is an
Okay, someone
opportunity
said
for you
no.
to,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can. Yeah, I think okay. Someone said yes. Someone said no. So I think majority of the persons here haven't heard about Ride the Dogs. So please, can you like do like a small intro about Ride the Dogs so they can get like a hang like a hang of it or something.
All right, Reddit Dogs is a global community for technical writers, and we have a community here in Nigeria, right? That also fosters technical writers, trains them together. We learn together, we grow together, we share content, we help a lot of our community members make contribution to open source projects. We create events and we actually organize meetups like this for where questions can be asked, questions will be answers all around technical writing. So we have a Discord channel and we also have a page on YouTube and also one on Twitter. You can join the one on YouTube is actually like a podcast where a lot of our meetings we do are being saved there. And it's a general podcast, not just for Nigerians, but those outside of the country. And but the Twitter page, right, is just focused for us within the Nigerian ecosystem. And we also have a Discord channel for those of us that are Nigerians too. But we also have a global Slack channel for the global Validor community. So, like I said initially, Write It Committee is a committee focused for technical writers to help them become better at documenting, find issues related to documentation, how to solve them, and how to be better at what you do as a technical writer. So, in case anyone might love to join our community, right? You just go on Twitter, search for NG Docs, like NG Nigeria, then Docs, or just search for Write Docs. You definitely come across the page that relates with you. You know that all this Nigeria from the handle NG, and you can send a DM to join our Discord server, and I will share the link with you via Twitter. And personally, right, if you also reach out to me personally, you can also check out Julie Martins on Twitter and Julie Martins too on LinkedIn. And reach out to me, I'll send you a link to join the community since I'm the community manager and Deborah is also part of the community and she's been putting out a lot of efforts to make sure the community is vibrant and educative enough. So it will be a nice thing to have all of you guys on board. Thank you very much.
That's really nice, Dule. I was trying to look for the handle for Write the Docs Nigeria on Twitter, and I wasn't able to find it. Please, can you repeat what you said about the handle so I could share it in the comment section for everyone to join? If you can like
Okay.
repeat, yeah, the handle on Twitter.
NG, like NG, N and G, like
Okay,
no go. NG, NG, then docs, DOCS.
okay, okay. Yeah, I found it. Okay, so I'll share. Let me share it in the comment section. Sorry, Asade, what didn't you get? You mentioned you didn't get that. Were you referring to the Twitter handle? Because I just shared it in the comment section. Then what about the community? Can they like go through the Twitter handle to join the community?
Yeah, if you want to join the Discord server, just send a DM to the Twitter and I will share the link with you. Because we don't want to put out the link out there, right?
Yeah,
We're trying to
yeah,
avoid those that are not part of the community to be part of the community. You get?
yeah.
We are trying to control the crowd and control the audience. So if you're interested to join our Discord server, right, just send a message to the Twitter handle and I'll share the link with you personally.
Okay. Okay, so he said you can send a message to the Twitter handle that I just shared in the comment section. So right, so let's get into the schedule for today. So this mentorship class is an Ask Me Anything session about documentation, about technical writing, any career related question you have in about technical writing, you can bring them on. So the floor is yours, guys. You guys can post your questions in the comment section. I'll be reading them out to our speaker for the day. Yeah. Hi, Dule. I think I can hear myself from your end.
Oh shit.
No, it's fine. Okay, so you guys
I
can
was
ask.
trying to get a question someone asked on Twitter. So we could actually start with that
Oh,
guy's question.
I think I have them here. But if you found something else, then you can definitely send it to me, and I would.
No, no, if you
Yeah,
have it then it's fine. I
yeah,
don't
I have it here.
suspect anything.
Okay, so I think I'll start with the questions I have here already. Okay, so someone's asked in the tweet I made about the mentorship class. He asked, I have finished, I don't know if he's here on the call today, so I hope he's here. He asked a question. He said, I have finished a technical writing boot camp. I have decent portfolio of 4 articles plus, and I have been a technical writer for the Good Docs project for 6 months. Can you advise me how I can apply to content marketing agencies, startups, in order to get technical writing jobs? Sorry, Dule, did you get the question, or should I repeat it?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I got the question.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Let's start by this. There's a question in the YouTube channel right, that says, what does it take to be a technical writer? Now I'm trying to answer these two questions. The one you just asked now, Deborah, and this other question asked by Walter, because they are kind of related, right? First thing first,
Yeah.
let's establish a context here. Technical writing is all about context. So we need to establish that. Now, technical writing is an act of sending out message, creating message. I don't use the word content because content is kind of generic. Sending out message, writing message that helps developers and non-developers to use a specific product or a specific tool set. Now, there are paths to technical writing. There are technical writers rather that focus on writing technical articles, right? They write on dev.to, Hackernoon, Hashnode, Medium, you can name them. But this set of persons, they've not been able to use a specific tool to build a static site generator. They've not been able to work in an agile environment and document a tool for internal consumption. They've not been able to document a service for a developer to build, but they can write articles. They write lovely articles that are awesome. And you see these articles, you read them and you initial in fact, from the first step of reading the article, you find solution to your problem. But they've not pivoted to these other parts of technical writing. Now, going to this guy's question that asked on Twitter now. His question is he has done all these things and he's trying to look at how he can market himself to content marketing agencies. I think it's a very straightforward thing, right? Now, you have written portfolios of articles you've written, and you want to market yourself to technical content creators or market content agencies. It's just to show them your sample of writings, right? And get to know the technology that they use or the products that they are marketing that you'll be writing for. Because writing, when it comes to marketing writing for the purpose of selling, you need to be able to create a hook in your writing, drag your audience to your content, and get them involved and give them reasons why they need to buy these stores. Now, that's like content marketing on its own. You're trying to market a specific product via content. But when it comes to technical articles, right, you're providing solution within the context of your article. You're providing solution within the context of the article, making sure that a user is able to use to XYZ to perform a specific action. So I think that is it. Now, there's a part that says, how can I apply content marketing agencies, startups in order to get technical writing jobs? If you're looking for technical writing jobs, right, I think I'll share my experience, right? LinkedIn have been the source to how I got a lot of jobs. I've gotten like 3 jobs, right, from LinkedIn. So if you're looking for technical writing jobs, just show up on LinkedIn, answer technical writing questions on LinkedIn. There are questions that are content related on LinkedIn. Share your contributions, make your post, and just contribute a lot of open source projects and share them on LinkedIn. Make noise about what you are, who you are, and what you do on LinkedIn. I think that alone will drag recruiters to you. That's one thing I did on LinkedIn. But when it comes about applying to a content marketing agency for them to give you gigs, writing gigs. Now, personally, I don't have experience within that space, but I'm just going to share something I know that has worked for others. Now, you have to apply using your portfolio. You have to apply using your sample articles. You have to apply using your analysis. Because if you're using Hashnode, right, to write, there's a part on Hashnode that has analysis, how your articles are doing well and how they're not doing well. Even dev.to has that. So you're applying to a content marketing agency, apply using these things as a proof factor to, oh, I've written X and Y article, and these are the ranges, and this is how they perform over time. This creates a kind of a trust to the startup or to the agency for them to give you the gig for you to write. But if you want to work with an organization or a company as a technical writer, let me just blow your mind off. You might not be writing article for them. So I think this help. If there are other questions, like this is not clear enough, I can also throw more light. But this is what I have to say in respect to this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Julie. Are there any other questions from what Julie just explained? And Walter, was your question about what does it take to be a technical writer? Do you think it was answered? So while we wait for, okay, while I wait, let me just, so we have another question. So I'm going to highlight this so that everyone can see. So we have another question from someone from Twitter, and the person is saying, how can, yeah, okay. The person is saying, how can someone be good, be be a good technical writer, irrespective of this of discipline or course of study? That's what the person is asking.
Okay, see, this is nice, right? Because technical writing skill is a skill that you can learn. Yes, I know I did computer science in school, right? I graduated as a computer science person, but I didn't do technical writing because I graduated as a computer science person. In fact, when I graduated as a computer science student, right, what I wanted to do was CCNE, which is networking and cyber security whatsoever. That was my focus, not even programming or anything. But along the line, right, I started attending meetups in Port Harcourt. Then I taught myself how to code a little bit. Then before COVID, yeah, before COVID 2019, I was also on Twitter, on LinkedIn rather. Then I came across a link, tried the doc meetup link. I joined the meetup. It was very early in the morning. The meetup was for 4 a.m. I joined the meetup. We were explaining what a technical writer is, who he is, their attitude, abilities, every damn thing was being discussed about a technical writer. And I'm like, okay, let me try out this thing. Let me see what it is. That was how I became a technical writer. That was like way back in 2019. Then I jumped on it, started reading a lot of course on Google. I took the Google technical writing course. There's a course by Google for technical writers. I took that course. I joined the community. I requested to initiate the community in Nigeria so that while I'm inviting people to come and teach others how to be better technical writers, I'm also learning how to be a good technical writer. So I started organizing meetup around technical writing and learning how to be a technical writer. So I found a magic right here. I found a source that changed everything about technical writing for me. That made me a more better technical writer. And what was that thing I found? Open source. I'm a very strong advocate on open source, mostly documentation. I find that open source was one thing that shaped me into becoming a technical writer that doesn't focus on writing article. I don't write article, being honest. I just have only few articles I've written. I don't write major article. When I was writing article, when I was starting out to become a technical writer newly, that was when I wrote article. Now let me shock you. Let me just this thing just came to mind. The first set of individuals that applied for Google Student of Dogs from Nigeria, I was among the first set of persons that applied. I, Didi Code, but Didi Code was the one that got accepted. I think that was the first set of persons that applied for Google Season of Dogs. I saw Didi Code's application and I also applied. And that was how I became friend with her, started talking to dates. Then I was not accepted into the whole Google Season of Dogs program, but I did a lot of open source contribution. I worked a lot of open source projects. I contribute to projects, documentation, and that has given me an edge. In fact, that gave me an edge and it's still giving me an edge. To date, I still contribute to open source documentation because there are those that works on the code, there are also those that works on the document. So I that has been a way that I've learned how to be a good technical writer. So this doesn't have to do with my discipline or my course. It has to do with my willingness and my ability to ask the right questions and seek the right support from friends and community members. If you check out very well, right, first thing I joined the community, I asked questions, I made contribution to open source. Even the open source I made contribution to, I joined their community. I became an active member of the community. There are three open source projects I've contributed to. I contributed to Nimbo Edge, Ansible Docs, and ACKPI. I'm currently contributing to JSON. I'm also contributing to, I'm planning on contributing to Linux, their documentation. So when you contribute to things like this, it gives you another perspective to technical writing. You always understand that technical writing is just about writing article on how to use a React framework to create something. It's about giving an example to a developer how to build a specific tool. So open source is one way of actually being better and being good at technical writing.
Wow, I was blown away. Thank you so much for that explanation. I'm sure that answered the person's question. I don't know if the person that asked that question is here today. So we have another question. So she said, Ifuri said, yes, in the last part, you said she said in the last part, you said if you work for an organization, you may not be writing articles for them. So what do in-house technical writers do? strictly documentation. So she's asking, what do the in-house technical writers actually do since they're not writing articles? Is it just documentation they write? I think that's what she's asking.
All right, fine. Let me answer that question in two ways, right? It depends on your organizational structure, right, and what your organization does. But let me share my experience here now. If you're working in an organization that builds products, and product that have been consumed by non-technical individuals. Let's say, for instance, you're working with a SaaS product, SaaS like software as a service. Your company offers software as a service, and the software architecture your company adopts while building is microservice. And if you understand what a microservice is, right? Microservices are products that is being disseminated into services and are being called via API to function as one specific service. Now, if you work in that kind of a structural organization, what you do as a technical writer is one, you document each of those services because those services will be built by developers. That's what you do. Two, you also create internal documentation that are consumed by internal team members. Three, you work with project managers to document products requirement documentation. That what is required for that product to be live. You also document that. Four, you also work with the architectures like senior software architectures to document the architecture being used in building the software. So these are things you document. But then when it comes to the blog part of it, your blog is not a technical, your company does not offer technical blog. If your company offers technical blog, then you write technical blog. But your company does not offer technical blog and it offers marketing blogs to market the product. It's not in your place to do that. There are content writers that are good in that can write an article that can captivate someone and cause someone to make transactions. Yeah, they can do that. But if you have that skill too as a person, then you can actually pitch it to your organization that, oh, I can actually write an article that cause someone to buy a thing. Then fine, you're good. But regardless of article and blog posts, what you also do is internal documentation, API documentation, internal API consumption documentation, and architectural documentation, microservice documentation, feature documentation, release notes. You also write release notes, feature requirement documentation, product requirement documentation, and yeah, I think that's it. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dule. Hi, Frey. Was your question answered? Oh, are there any other questions? Are there any other questions? So you guys can ask your questions now, or any questions you have related to technical writing, documentation. Okay, so let's give them like 2 more minutes to think about any questions they may have. Okay, if Ray said you answered her question, and she's saying thank you, and Walter is also saying thank you for the other question you answered.
Thank you, Water. Thank you, Ifuri.
Okay, so let me give you guys like 2 extra minutes to think about any questions you may have for Julie Martins.
Okay, I think I have this to share while you guys are thinking of the questions to ask, right?
Okay, great.
One thing I also advise is don't mistake technical writing to be just writing of article. Don't do that. If you're doing that, you're actually doing it very, very wrong. If you think of technical writing to be writing of articles and publishing articles, you're wrong. Why do I say you're wrong? Because it's more than that. I just explained and I listed out some things you do that are not article related. So for you to be able to do those things well, you need to have an engineering background. You need to. You need to understand what is an endpoint. You need to understand what is a payload. You need to understand how does an endpoint interact. How do a developer calls an endpoint? At what point does the endpoint is being called? You need to understand these flows. You need to understand these flows in software development process. You need to understand it. So for you to understand this, you need to be reading articles related to software development, and you can also watch YouTube videos on how software is being developed. Let me show you guys something I do. because I stopped coding, right, and I don't really code that much. There are times I come on YouTube and I watch YouTube tutorials that are strictly on coding, not because I want to code, but because I want to have the concepts of coding. Now I'm working in an organization that builds products with .NET, and my background is JavaScript, React, but I went to YouTube to understand what .NET is and how .NET is different from JavaScript, so that I can create a document for engineers, for .NET engineers. I did this and it gave me understanding and the concept of like, okay, that this is how an object is being defined in .NET. This is how a method is being called in .NET, and this is XYZ in .NET. So you need to have the engineering background for you to. You don't need to be an expert developer. I can build a website using React. I can do something with React a little bit, but I'm not expert in it at all. I stopped giving my energy to the coding or development because I found out that technical writing was a soft landing for me. It's something I like doing. I like talking, I like writing, I like reading. So I was like, yes, let me do this to just save myself from bug issues, slapping my system when bug is not connecting and the like. So yeah, that is also one thing you need to do. You read books that are related to coding. You read books that are related to software development process entirely. You read books that are related to software architecture itself. And you also read books that are related to software connections, software communications. Because while documenting, you also have to state how a specific software communicates with another software. So I just hope this will be helpful. Yeah, I'm seeing a question from Emmy. Emmy is asking, how can I transition from a software engineer to a technical writer slash documentary engineer? Perfect. You can. In fact, you're even one step ahead because you have the engineering background, like I said. All what you need to do just to learn the necessary tool required to be a documentation engineer. Now, a documentation engineer is someone that engineers a documentation. Engineer simply mean build. Now, building is use tools like NKDocs, Redocly, and other tools. Adopting the approach called doc as code. Doc as code is when you use command line to build a documentation and every other thing. Use command line, you push to GitHub, use version control system, you make sure that, yeah, there are tools you use to do that. When you've been able to know these tools, you've transitioned from just being a technical writer to a documentation engineer. When you're a technical writer is when you write technical content, but when you're a documentation engineer, you build a site, a static site, using one of the static site generator. I've listed like three: MKDocs, Redocly, and Docusera. There are others. So once you've been able to get this skill, so for you to transit from an engineer or a software engineer to this, you just need to learn how to use this skill. Then once you've been able to use this tool, I think you're good. But when it comes to writing, yeah, I know by default a lot of us knows how to write, but you just have to keep writing and understand the context of writing. Yeah, there's something that skipped my head while I was saying. Now, as a technical writer, you need to understand that there's something called style guide. Style guide is something like what's the word in coding for style guide? Style guide can be likened to framework. Style guide can be likened to framework because a style guide is how you should write for audience XYZ. If you want to write for a global audience, there are style guides that tells you how to write for a global audience. If you want to write for local audience, there are style guides that tell you how to write for local audience. And most of these style guides gives you words to use and words not to use. Like in my organization, right? When I joined, I'm the sole technical writer. There's not a technical writer there. I suggested that we use the Google Developer Style Guide. So we write based on the Google Developer Style Guide. We use wordings based on the Google Developer Style Guide because Google is a general adopted product. So we believe that it is being used globally, and our document should be a global document too. So we use those words to match up with our document, and is in line with the Google Developer Style Guide. There is a Microsoft Style Guide. There is a Red Hat Style Guide. There's a Google Developer Style Guide. There's a Chicago Style Guide. There are a lot of style guides. So one thing too you need to know as a technical writer in documentation engineer, you need to understand what's a style guide and how to use a style guide. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Julie. I hope that answered your question, Emmy Steven. So we have another question from Ufuri. She said, "So do you mean that you can be a solid technical writer without actively coding? Because JavaScript is showing me shege." For any non-Nigerian here, it means that it's a hassle. It's very difficult, right? So I don't have to do this forever. I just need to understand the process. So I don't know if you got that question, Julie.
Yeah, I do. If that was the same thing that made me run from JavaScript. JavaScript was showing me shaky. I nearly cried. I was like, what is this? I just have to like, okay, fine. Since you don't want me to be your friend now, since JavaScript don't want me to be his friend, let me leave JavaScript alone and look for someone else that wants to be my friend. But that doesn't mean you don't have to understand. Like you understand what an endpoint is, because most endpoints are built, some endpoints are built with JavaScript. You need to understand what's an endpoint. You understand what an endpoint contains. And this still requires some technical concepts. So yes, you don't have to do this forever. You can actually be a technical writer and you are at ease, but you still have to along the line, right? Play with coding, not because you want to be a professional coder, but because you want to be able to do some one or two things. You want to be able to test API. There's a level you get to in technical writing, right? That your focus will be around API testing. Now, let me shock you. There are testers in organization. Like my company has like four testers, like four testers. And most of these testers, I work with them when I'm documenting API. Like I ask them, like, hey, dude, have you been able to test this API? I want to document the API. They'll be like, yes, I've tested it, and this is my test results. I take their test results, and it's left for me to either test it or start documenting based on the test results. But to be on the safer side, right, you just have to test it on your own end. And you can test an API using Spotlight or any other tools. Then you test this API, then once it's good for you, you document the API based on procedures. There are procedural documents based on how to use and how to call, where to integrate, and the likes. So yes, you can actually be a solid technical writer without actively coding. The only part where you code is when you actually want to play with an API. I won't call that coding, but it's fine. Let's, for the sake of this, let's call it coding. But you just have to play with an API to know that okay, you know what you're writing. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dule. Hi, Ifire. Okay. I hope that answers your question. So, Ifire says, before now, she said, this is such a relief because I don't see myself solving bugs for the next 3 years. So, we have another question from Faith. She said, are there technical writing opportunities for people from data background? Because it seems as though everyone transitions into technical writing from software engineering.
I'm going to answer this question is right. Permits me to do this, Faith. Faith Stanbury. Permits me to do this. I once had a conversation with someone. Her name is Daniela Kennett. She's an American. She's a data science practitioner. She's also a technical writer. So she writes technical articles for data science companies. This is me answering your question. Though. So you just have to make the best out of what I'm saying. She writes data science articles for data science companies. That's what she does. In fact, last year, right, I had a section with her, one of the Write the Doc meetup we organized in Nigeria. I invited her. That was how I get to know her. She writes for them articles that explain the concepts of data science, the application of data science, the technologies of data science, and everything around data science as an article. Get the point here, as an article. Now, you know that now this I've answered it from one angle. Now I'm going to the next part. Now you know that building, right, building a software is different from actually what a data scientist does. What a data scientist does is actually it queries in data, analyze the data, and predict the data. It's like a three-phase thing. First thing you query the data, you analyze the data, then you predict the data. That's who you are as a data scientist. Is when you grow from being a data scientist into a data engineer that you actually after predicting the data, you build the data into a model, into an AI model or whatever model you want to build data into. Now, this is how it works for you. You can actually write the article beautiful enough and work with data scientists to help them write articles and promote whatever they do within data space. And you can also work with an organization as a data science documentarian. What will you be doing? You at first work with data engineers, ask them about their data modeling. And once you ask them about the data modeling, you go to write a procedural document that guides them on how to model a data, how to insert the data in a model system, and how to do all the related tasks that involves in data modeling. Because at this point now, you're working with data engineers, those that build data into something. So, and for them to build these data into something, right, they need a map, they need an instruction to guide them on how to do this. Most of them do it from their head, right? But imagine where there's a document that shows them on how to do it. They don't need to think, they just have to follow the document rules and build it. So, that is how I think it can work for you as a data person. I hope I answered your question, Faith.
Hi, Faith. Thank you so much, Julie. Hi, Faith. Was he able to answer your question? And I think we have another question here. Okay, we have one from Divine. He says, "Good afternoon. Please, what resources do you recommend for a beginner who is interested in learning API documentation?"
Oh, Divine, cheers for asking that question. I was actually waiting for this particular question because I was thinking we'll get to when we'll talk about this. Because for now, we are still talking about technical writing and when it comes to API documentation. Okay, when it comes to resources for you to learn API documentation, there is one known source. I think Deborah have used this source before. I've also used it. A lot of persons within technical experts have used it. It's called I Did Rather Be Writing. It's by Tom Johnson. Yeah, Deborah will check for it and share the link in the chat. I did rather be writing. If you go through that course, right? If you go through that course, I bet you understand how to actually do API documentation perfectly well. That course is one of the best course and also one of the best things that have happened to humanity when it comes to technical writing. I consumed that course for 3 consecutive times. Like after the first time, I came back again. I came back again. Even to date, if I'm documenting an API, right, and I'm blocked, I go back to that course. To me, it's like a Bible. It's not a one-off thing to me. Something I do often. I'll be like, if I'm blocked, I'll go back to it. So, yeah, that's the link. So that is the resources for you, Divine, to learn.
Okay, thank you so much, Julie, for sharing that with Divine. Divine, I hope you get what you're looking for. If you're able to learn it with that link we shared. And if Ray says, "Thank you so much. I'll focus on getting grounded with the software process for like a year plus, then transition fully with that background. This is such a clarity session for me. Thank you." You're welcome, Ifri. Yeah, so we have another question from Newbie Stack. He's asking, what would be your advice for someone who is planning to write a technical structure for a startup idea? Okay.
Um, Newbie stack. Let's define their context very well because, like I said initially, technical writers are those that write based on context. What do you define as the technical structure? Because the word, yeah, if I'm going by the word technical structure, you're telling me that you want to be able to write a structure for a product, how the project will flow from design to development to any other thing. But technically, let's take marketing out of it, technical structure. And don't fade on the fact that design is not technical. Design is technical. So if you mean technical contents in terms of coding and you're not referring to design, I think you're missing it. Design is technical. You can ask designers if it's not technical. The stress they go through in thinking, you know that yes, design is very, very technical. So please, I would love you to just explain what you mean by technical structure. Then I can actually give an advice based on experience and opinion.
Okay, hi Divine. Please, did you get that question from Dule? So Oh, sorry, not Divine, Newbie Stack. So Newbie Stack says it's a guide for the designer to work with and bring out the design for the developers to work with. Let me put that on the screen.
Okay, that's like a design software doc because there's a documentation called design software doc. I've written that for my current organization, right? Now, this now you want to write it for the designer to work with and bring out the design for developers to work with. Now, there's a point, there's a part you're missing now. There's a part between the design and the developer. That's the part where the design software docs comes in. Where the designer designs and the technical writer documents the design and developer builds the design based on the design and the documents. But let's take our step back to a guide for designer to work with. Now, designer works with your ideas. The designer works with um, the designer research and the user experience research and what else again the designers work with. There are other things they work with, right? Now, for you to be able to write out this guide, first thing first, I have a sample for this thing you want to do, but I can't share it because it's just from my organization. But I'm just going to say this. You just have to be able to explain what you want the designer to do in your own layman understanding. It doesn't have to be very way technical or too technical. Just the best way you know, like very normal. Just write it as normal as you can. Like the one I worked on was a website. I was asked to write a content for how a designer should design a website, right? And the wordings for the website. I what I did was at every phase of the website, I started with the URL first thing first. You start with the product name, the product URL, the product description. Those are like subheadings: product name, product URL, product description. You describe the product itself. It doesn't have to be like more than one paragraph. The description, a very simple thing the product is meant to do. After that, the next thing is the steps for the product. If the product requires users to log in, you put the part login. Um, like I talked about Style Guide, once you are mentioning a button in writing, is different from your normal writing. If I'm writing login, a user has to log in. Now I have to make the login bold and in italic formats, but other contents that are before or after the login will be in normal formats. Reason is because I want the developer or the designer to know that this particular one I highlighted and is in italic format is a button on the site or on the product. So that's how you write it for them to know that yes, I'm highlighting this. And also use Google Docs. So once you use Google Docs, you can comment on that. You can just highlight that part and you drop a comment that hey, this part I made bold is a button on the site. So you explain that step by step. There's something called uh, process documents. It's a document that enables someone to carry out a task. I will check for it and I'll share it in the group in the comments. But for your question, right, I think that's the best way you can approach this. Just a mail guide on how you want the product to be designed, starting from the name, the URL, and the description. Then the next header that comes in are steps that involves in the product. The step that the user will perform. Step one is an action from the user, required action. What the user needs for him to perform this action. Then the next step, so you talk about what the user needs for him to perform the action. Then you should also be able to link step one and step two while writing. Like if step one is talking about login, the user needs to be on the site before he logs in. So after login, a model pops up. You identify that the model pops up. Now, for you to talk about the model that pops up now, that is in step two. Talks about this is how the model will look. These are information that are contained in the model, and this is the submit button from the model. Then step three is the next thing that happened after the model have been submitted. You go within that process, and that is it. You'll be able to solve your problem with that. But while you're doing this, right, you have to have an understanding to what the product is and also do a review with the designer. I hope this was able to help and solve your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dule. Newbie, if Ifure, sorry, has something to say. She said earlier, you said you're an open source advocate and you will advise us to contribute to open source, especially as beginners. Can you recommend projects we can currently contribute to, or how do we find continuation? How do we find projects we can contribute to or projects to contribute to?
You can find projects to contribute on GitHub. You can find them on GitHub, and also too, once you join our community, or once you join the Adidas community, is one thing we do. We currently have um, we currently have projects where our members are contributing to, which is Ansible Docs. We have that members are contributing to it. So if you join our Discord channel, right, I think I can guide you towards making your first contribution, and you can start looking at your contribution to other ones too. And yeah, thank you, Miss Rate. Yes, something just came to mind just now. As a technical writer, right, it is been advised or warned that while writing, don't announce a feature that is yet to be built. If you have an idea that your company or your organization is about to build a specific feature, while you're writing about the product, don't talk about that feature yet because they will actually scrap it and you've actually written about it. So focus your writing on what's existing at the moment.
Thank you so much for that, Barry Dule. Dule. I keep saying different versions of your name.
My
Okay, I
name
hope
is
that answers your
actually
question.
my name is actually Barry Zuli. I
Exactly.
intentionally just short it
Shorten
to
it
Zuli.
right.
So it's easier.
Okay. Thank you. If you I hope that answered your question. Then from Newbie Stack, he's asking Dropbox or Google Docs, which do you recommend? I think that was when you were talking about answering his question about
Yeah, I think
the yeah.
yeah, I think I answered this when I said you could use Google Docs so that you can easily comment on
Yeah,
your
he
highlighted word.
yeah, he said thank you very much that you cleared his
Thank
doubts.
thank thank you very much, New Vista.
Okay, so do we have any other questions so we can call it a day? I think we've spent like an hour, almost an hour. If you have any other questions, you have like 2 minutes to drop them in the comment section so we can call it a day. Also, is everyone on the call? Are you currently in the Discord channel? Do you have access to the Discord channel where the persons involved in the whole mentorship program are currently? So just let me know if you are currently in the Discord channel, or if you're not in the Discord channel, rather, so I can share the link and you can join. Okay, so Dilly just shared his handles. So is this LinkedIn or Twitter?
Twitter.
Okay, so this is Twitter handle. So you can follow him on Twitter and ask him any other questions you have in his spare time. Okay. So we have just 2 more minutes. We have till 2:30. Then we'll call it a day. So in the meantime, thank you so much, Dule. You really shared a lot of insights today. I mean, like people actually pay for this, and it's for free. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and taking your time to answer all these questions. You know, you're a very busy person, and you still took out time to help answer questions. And we're really grateful for giving back to the technical writing community.
Uh-huh.
And yeah. So yeah, so you guys followed Dule on Twitter. Yeah, okay. So Nibi Stack says he's already following Dule on Twitter. Wow, and he's okay. Okay, so if Ifere says she just followed you on Twitter, but she can't message you. That could you send a DM or so that you can get
I will follow her back so she can message me.
okay. Yeah. So nice. Okay, so it's 2:30. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Dule. I hope you guys have a nice day and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you very much for having me there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye. You're welcome, Ifere.